So I would like to welcome on the stage two very distinguished panelists today. Ms. Widid Bouchamawi, 2015 Nobel Prize laureate, former president of UTICA, the Tunisian Confederation of Industry, Trade and Handicraft, and CEO of HBG Holding. Very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Also, Mr. Jean-Paul Scheuer. Mr. Jean-Paul is the MCO lead and general manager, specialty care for Sanofi in the Greater Gulf. He has been in the region for 7 years, and prior to move here, he was a general manager in Ukraine. Very welcome on stage.
Thank you so much.
So the statistic on gender balance can be a bit discouraging if you look at them. The World Bank and the OECD tells us that women labor force participation at global level is 45% versus 74% for men. The pay gap is on average 22% between men and women. And participation of women in the board is very low as well, 20%. Women tend to bear the majority of household responsibility, and obviously this has a big impact on their ability to progress in their career. So I could probably go on for a while with statistics, but I would really like to hear from our panelists what's their take, what's their analysis on today's state on the gender gap. Maybe we can start with you, Ms. Widid.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so delighted to be here. You know, it depends on the mentality, I think, on the education and the will of politicians. You know, I grew up in the family of business, and my father was behind me to push me and my sisters. We are 4 girls and 3 boys in the family, and he gave us the same education. He pushed us to be independent, to be entrepreneurs, and also to face some challenges. I think this is a kind of mentality. Even though he, left school at the age of 11, he was there, and he believed on us, all of us, and he was like, he was our teacher to say to us, you are here, you have to behave as your brothers, but you have to be also more powerful to use all your capacities, your abilities to play this role as entrepreneurs. That's what we did. I think this is very important when you have this mentality of behaving your daughters or your sisters in the same way. Second, the education. I think if we have to focus on education, to give the same education for boys and girls, but we have to mix classes, to have mixture, teachers, so we have this mentality to behave together and to have this, the behavior to do something different. That's why for us, I'm Tunisian, as you know, and we had this kind of status to encourage us, women and girls, to go to school, to be independent, and also to go through different kind of sectors. That's why, for me, I believe that we are able, as we represent the half of the humanity, we have to be in all positions. The second point, maybe I'm going to focus on it, is the political will. If you don't have this political will, to encourage women to be in such position, that's why we feel that women, they are always, not shy, but scared, because they are thinking to have, to take care about their children, to take care about their houses, and they don't have the good environment to be as entrepreneurs. That's why today, I think, 2022, it's time to think that we should be, women and the men, in the same position. We should, have the same opportunities. And when we listen to this such, statistics, I'm really ashamed as a woman, because, I think it's time now with this technology and with this development to have more women as CEOs, more women as, in the high position, more women as the political leaders. Still we are, behind, the average, and in different countries, even less than, the 30%. So it's a package of, a package of, of abilities, but it's a package of will that we do need, I mean, to push women to be more in such position, yeah.
So it needs to be addressed from different angles.
Yeah,
in
for
the
sure.
family,
Yeah.
for sure, education system,
For sure.
as well as political and cultural.
Yeah, for sure, yes.
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a long journey. Mr. Jean-Paul, what would be your take on today's state of gender gaps?
So first, good morning, and I'm really proud actually to be sharing this panel. Well, let me start by an anecdote actually. In fact, I've taken my position here in Dubai on the 7th of March 2016. And on the 8th of March, I was attending a town hall actually in my company, which was organized obviously in the frame of the International Women's Day on the 8th of March. And a fantastic, very charismatic Emirati woman was addressing the team actually about the place of women in the society, in the region. And at the end of her talk, actually, she addressed herself to me and asked me to commit on having actually a full gender parity in my management committee in the years to come. And I've taken this commitment, actually. I've made this commitment without knowing how I would be able to achieve it, right? Because I was just joining this organization and had no idea really of what I would be finding, and that was a completely new to me. I'm really proud to say that 6 years later, actually, 54% of my, I would say, management committee, I have 12 nationalities out of 15 members, and 54% of this management committee are women. And that has not been achieved because we have been specifically pushing for this, but just because we have been able to implement a very fair, transparent, open process so that we could give the position to the best of them, to the best people possible. Actually, the 3 recent persons who've joined this management committee are all women, and with very, very different conditions, actually. The first one was a very young talent that we had in our organization and that we had identified a few years ago as a potential successor for this position. We have grown her, actually, and we gave them this opportunity. And that shows somehow that if you want to improve the place of women in an organization, you have to start early, right? And you have to start giving equal chances early and not just at the moment of opening a position. The second person is as well, an internal move within the company, but this person is moving from Colombia to Dubai. And here as well, you need to create the conditions so that a woman can move actually and could make such an incredible move with her family, to a new country. And the third person who joined us is a woman, a fantastic woman from Saudi Arabia, actually, that we have recruited externally. So you see, 3 very completely different situations, but where at the end of the day, we've just been taking the best possible people, some of them because they were prepared and we have been working with them to make them ready to join the leadership position in the organization, and also otherwise because we have just been implementing a very fair and transparent process. I'm convinced that in a company, the example has to come from the top, right? We need to lead as an example, and when it comes to a topic like gender balance, parity, diversity as a whole, it has to. It's a matter of leadership as well. It has to come from a leader. How many leaders do we hear talking about diversity, talking about the place of women in a company, and not achieving anything at all in their own organization, right? So if we want to spread in the overall organization at all layers of the organization, a culture of diversity, including a very strong culture of gender balance and accepting, the place of women in this organization, it has to come from the top, and this is what, at least in my company, we're trying to do.
Yeah. You said something very true, which is that there is a lot of talk, but then when it's down to implementing initiative, that's the challenge, right? Yeah. And you have shown a very great example of what you achieve in your company. What do you think could be other initiatives that company can put in place to promote gender equality and women empowerment? Is there anything, for example, coming out of the recent pandemic, the new ways of working that can be used to support women in the workplace?
Well, I would highlight 3 points here. I have the chance to be working in a company which is really giving, to diversity and gender balance in particular, a very important place. And this has been even more strengthened in the past almost 3 years, actually, when our new CEO joined and then a new chief people officer. And I think one of the major differences is that diversity, the place of women, gender equality is not a topic. It's part of the strategy of the company. And I think that this makes a whole difference as well.
Yeah.
I mean, to see how much important and how much this is going to drive actually the way the company is going to develop and grow and the journey that we are taking within the company. I will give just a very recent example of what we've been implementing. We've been implementing actually and giving the possibility for young father to take a 14 weeks paid leave actually as a paternity leave, because we believe that when a newborn arrives in a family, it's not only a matter of having the mother, but as well the father being present. And so actually one of my close collaborators is going to benefit from this. And I'm really pushing him to take it because I think it's a fantastic chance. I did not have the chance to have this for my 2 kids. And I believe that this is a very strong move as well, I mean, in that perspective. The second thing is referring to your question on what COVID crisis have changed. I mean, it's useless to say, it has been said billions times how much COVID has been changing actually the society, but it has also been changing incredibly the way we work, the way we think. To be very honest, I mean, 3 years ago, I was really not a very strong advocate of work from home policy, and I was very reluctant to implement this within my organization here in the UAE. Of course, I mean, this COVID, these past 2 years have completely changed my mind, obviously, and has shown me how much it is possible and efficient also to work from home, actually.
Yeah.
So I think we have reached in my company a very good balance where we have a very efficient, I mean, work from home policy which is benefiting to everyone and which allow really, I mean, to create a very flexible environment in the way we are working. Actually, I mean, we have also been benefiting from the recent change of the weekend in the country. And we have made the decision as a company to grant to our people, I mean, fully these 2.5 days of weekend. We are catching up in different ways, I mean, during the rest of the week. But our people, I mean, have these 2.5 days of weekend because we believe that this is an opportunity as well to improve the work-life balance, right? And to give, I mean, more importance again to family life. Yeah. Still, everything's not perfect.
Yeah.
If I take the overall gender balance in my organization, it's only reaching 37% of women. So we still have a long way to go, right? And of course, it's not equal depending on countries, but we still have a lot to do. I'm really proud of what we've done in Saudi, where we have increased by 14 percentage points. I mean, the percentage of women present in our organization in this country. Still a lot to do, but that's very significant. The second topic on which we need to work is the percentage of women being managers, having leadership positions. Yeah. Is still too low in our organization. And even if we are trying to show the example from the top, it still remains something that we need to improve. We have recently promoted, I mean, 3 very young, talented ladies in our Saudi affiliate, I mean, to different leadership positions. But again, that's not enough. And the last one, you've been mentioning it, it's the pay gap. Yeah. That's something I really cannot understand.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes against all my values, right? I mean, and I'm very uncomfortable when I see that some women are paid differently for the same job as a man. I can't understand. So I understand this is coming from a legacy, right?
It's very difficult to believe.
Yeah.
So it's coming from a legacy, right? But I mean, this is something really that is present in my organization as well, and that we definitely need to address. I mean, because this is really, it's not an easy topic to address. It takes time, but this is obviously, I mean, a priority as well.
Thank you very much. Ms. Widad, as a senior leader, as a CEO of your company, what are the initiatives that you are implementing or you're planning to implement to drive the gender equality?
First, we choose, I mean, a woman as CEO of our group. My sister, she's CEO of the whole group. I think is a good point.
Role models already there.
Yes, a role model. Second, we are 48 female and versus 50 males in our group. I mean, we are at least 900 persons and direct, I mean, employees. And I think it's good for us. Still, we need to have more women as, I mean, seniors. I think we have to work on this. But we have equal pay, the equal chances to promote, everything, because for us it's very important. Maybe because we are four, girls, and me and my sister, we are also in the group. We pushed, and I think it's a kind of mentality in our group is to behave the same way, to give the same chances to everyone. For us, what is very important is the competence. That's we evaluate the person among its competence. This is very important. Second, I'm going to come back to this COVID pandemic. You know, as you spoke about statistics, I think 2.3 billion women have been pushed out of the workforce, and 1.1 million men. So you see this difference. I took this statistics just to show that there is a difference in this. Because it's easier for them, to push women to leave the work than men, because also for this fragile, sometimes, status for women. Second, for me also, I don't accept how we can have, for the same degree, different pays. For me, it's incredible. I could not imagine something like this. That's why we need to have more policies. We have this political will to push, to respect the law, because in our country also the law is really very clear. For same degree, you'll have the same pay. But sometimes in some very fragile sectors like agriculture, still now we have this difference. So that's why when women, they are educated, they know their rights, maybe they are there to ask for their rights. So that's why I think education, communication, and information are three pillars, but they are very important to push women to be aware, to ask, and also to know what they have to do. This pandemic also showed us, we can work from at home, but we can share also responsibilities between men and women. So as I think for the majority of men, they got the chance, to know better about their families,
So
about know everything about what was happened. The number of tasks that we have to do as women. So I think this is the positive way of this pandemic. To live
A wake-up call for everyone.
Yes, thank you so much for this. It was I think for men, it's a way to be aware and to know better what is happening in there, and what they have to do, how we can share these responsibilities, and also for us as CEOs or as entrepreneurs, we can also deliver a good work, even we are at home. We can work in the same way. So we can offer this service in the same way as we are in the office. So I think this is also the good point of this pandemic. Yeah.
Maybe one last question. You touch upon, the broader industry, broader private sector. So what would be your call of action for your colleagues, for the industries, for the sectors in pushing for gender parity, for empowering women?
Maybe we could, as the private sector, we could be, the driving force. We have to show the example that we are respecting the law. We are encouraging women to be in a very high position. We have to, to respect the equal pay, the promotion, to encourage to recruit women, not to think that as they are women, they're going to have, more. They're going to ask for more time or something like this. But it's very important for us. It's our mentality how we have to push that. And also, I think as a private sector, we can, have some role models, and we can push to have this kind of role models just to inspire others.
More visible.
Very visible. And maybe to work with the public sector also, we can be together, to encourage the women empowerment everywhere in different sectors, and just to move and to shift from this informal sector, because in different countries, the majority of women, they are working in informal sectors, marginalized women. So maybe we have to think about these women, to take care about these women, and how we can move from this informal sector to real formal sector, to to ensure for them the social security, to have this equal pay, better condition. So it's, I mean, it's a kind of package from the public sector and private sector, but I think our responsibility as the private sector is very important. If we have, I mean, if we have a big number of women in our board, it is going to be as like a way to push. And also, I think what is very important is, I mean, to offer a better environment in the workplace. I mean, to be aware about the harassment in the workplace, to really to refuse and to be strict. I mean, if about this kind of harassment in the workplace, and to encourage women also to be encouraged. I mean, to declare or something like this, because it's very important also to have this better environment to produce more, and also to be more effective in our work. Yeah.
Thank you very much. This discussion has been extremely inspiring, and it's really good to see such a strong commitment from leaders. And thank you.
Thank you for having us here.